let's talk about one of the biggest shakeups of our lifetime, the complete reinvention of work. I mean, the old rules about how we work, where we work, even why we work, they're basically being shredded, and a new playbook is being written right now as we speak. So what's inside?
To really get to the bottom of this, we have to ask a pretty blunt question. For as long as most of us can remember, the 9-to-5 office job was just the way things were. But is it officially broken? All the signs are pointing to a huge, resounding yes.
All right, so first, let's look at the proof. The cracks in that traditional model, well, they've been showing for years, but now they're just impossible to ignore. And this isn't just about people wanting to work from home in their sweatpants. It's about a deep, fundamental breakdown in the corporate structure itself.
I want to start with just one number, a really telling number, 76%. This isn't a small minority. This is a massive majority, and it points to a deep-seated problem, not at the bottom of the ladder, but right at the very top.
So, what is that 76%? That's the percentage of employees who now connect leadership positions with, you guessed it, three awful things: burnout, office politics, and stress. The very jobs that people are supposed to dream of, to strive for, they're now seen as a trap. This is a huge crisis for the future of leadership. And it's not just the C-suite jobs, it's the whole system of leadership. More than half of all workers feel like it's an outdated relic from a different time. And for Gen Z, that number shoots up to 65%. You see, this isn't just a small complaint. It's a massive, generational rejection of the old way of doing business.
So, what was the catalyst? What finally blew this broken system wide open? Well, it was that massive, almost overnight shift to remote work. What started out as a temporary fix has turned into a permanent migration, and it's forcing literally everyone to rethink what an office is even for.
For employees, the financial perks were obvious right away. All that money you used to spend on gas, train tickets, new work clothes, suddenly it was just back in your bank account. But it went deeper than that. People started realizing, hey, I could move somewhere more affordable. I have more control over my health, my life. But let's be real. It wasn't a perfect utopia. That financial upside came with a pretty serious human cost. Isolation and loneliness became huge issues. You know, those little casual conversations by the coffee machine that spark big ideas? Gone. And for so many, that line between work life and home life just completely evaporated, creating a whole new kind of stress. Okay, so how are smart companies actually dealing with all this? This is where we get into the new playbook. To really succeed in this new distributed world, organizations are having to literally rip up their old rule books for hiring and managing people. The first really big shift is a move towards something called decentralized hiring. So instead of having one single HR department in an ivory tower making all the calls, the power to hire gets pushed out to the actual teams and managers who are on the ground doing the work. Now, this slide shows a really important trade-off. Decentralized hiring, it's way faster and more flexible. The old centralized way is more consistent, but man, can it create bottlenecks. But here's the wild card, the surprising number. Decentralized models actually lead to more candidate resentment. And what that tells us is that if you don't manage it carefully, a faster process can end up feeling chaotic and unfair to the people you're trying to hire. Another new strategy that's popping up is fractional hiring. Think about it this way. Instead of hiring one person to fill a seat from 9 to 5, you're hiring a world-class expert for a specific project, just for a fraction of their time. You're hiring for a specific result, not just to fill a role, which honestly makes so much sense for this new world. Okay, so you found all these amazing people using these new methods. Now for the million-dollar question. How on earth do you keep them motivated when they're spread out all over the place? This might be the single biggest challenge, powering that human connection when there's no physical office. Forget those old-school, top-down, Employee of the Month plaques. They just don't cut it anymore. The research is crystal clear. The single most powerful motivator today is direct, one-on-one appreciation from your immediate manager. When you can feel invisible working from home, that personal connection, that, hey, great job on that, it means everything. And when you look at what people want, beyond a paycheck, the answers are so human. People are starving for interesting work. They want chances to grow. They want the freedom and autonomy to do their jobs well. These are the things that really, truly get people excited to log on in the morning. Now, when we talk about actual, tangible rewards, yeah, cash is still king, no surprise there. But look how close gift cards are. The real story here is about choice. People want rewards that actually fit their lives, not some one-size-fits-all bonus that doesn't really work for them. So, how do you actually build this culture of appreciation from a distance? Well, one of the most effective tools companies are using is peer-to-peer recognition platforms. These are basically systems that let coworkers give each other public shout-outs, and they directly fight that feeling of isolation we talked about. They build real, genuine connection, even if your team is spread across 3 different continents.
All right, now let's zoom all the way out. Because this massive shift in how we work, it's not happening in a bubble. It's actually part of a much, much bigger wave of decentralization that's changing not just our jobs, but how our entire world is being organized. And that forces us to ask a really big question. If our jobs are decentralizing, what's next? I mean, how far does this trend actually go? It's starting to push into areas you would never expect, like the very definition of ownership and value online. Now, stick with me because NFTs are a really wild but perfect example. Forget all the hype for a second. At their core, they're a case study in decentralization. You've got individual artists, marketplaces, even items in video games. They all share this one big idea, a new way to prove you own something and to create value without some big central bank or company in charge. It's like a whole new system of work and rewards. And here's where it clicks back to the world of work. Think about fan tokens. A sports team can use them to give their global, totally distributed fan base a real feeling of ownership, of being part of the club. So now companies are asking, wait a minute, could we use those same ideas to make our global distributed workforce feel that same sense of ownership and community? Which leaves us with one final, huge question to chew on. We know the 9 to 5 is broken, we know work is going remote, and the new playbook is all about giving people autonomy and recognition. But as this massive trend continues, is it just our jobs that are changing? Or are our fundamental ideas of what it means to be a community and what it means to own something, are they next?